he's not going to play mind games to achieve the objective. He's not going to do anything that's underhand to achieve the objective. But he's going to make sure that within his control, everything that has to be done to achieve the objective is done.
You know that call to serve. Arise, O compatriots, Nigerians call away to serve with heart and mind, with love and strength. And that for me is that, right? That people who are ready to serve, people who are prepared. When you say ready time, they give their time, knowledge, experience, competencies, and the like. And when it's time to do something, they do it.
If we have 20 of Asue in the whole Nigeria, let's say from each geopolitical area of Nigeria, I'm sure we'll have a great nation.
He's such a workaholic. I wish he would just slow down. But this is not the time, but you can't tell him. Once he has his eyes fixed on something, he goes for it.
I believe if we had more people identify them, as you can with Aswe, I think then we would really have a better governance space in Nigeria today.
I'm 100% sure that if he becomes the governor of Edo, life will be easier for everybody.
Relatable. I mean, if there's any word he's so relatable. I don't want to use the word humble. I don't want to use, but he can connect up, down, left, right. And a big part of it is because I think he has empathy and he just knows how to connect. So relatability.
You can't sit in the room with him, even if you are the chairman. He's a leader. He leads. He leads with compassion. He leads with, and not for anything. It's just who he is.
I think one of the great attributes Aswe has is that he's not afraid to talk to anybody. When you are in his profession and you only eat what you kill, you need to go and look for clients. You need to go and look for people to give you business. And that talent means that you are able to approach anybody and talk to anybody.
Edo State will be lucky to have him. If he gets there, they would beg him to do a second term.
So with Aswe, what he would do behind you or what he would do in private is also what he would do in public. He doesn't have self-contradictions of speech and thought.
For him, it was always, it's not just enough to say it, right? I have to lead by my example. And that's the example that he showed every day. He shows every day at work.
Edo State would lose if they don't get Aswe. Hello and welcome to AI Uncovered. I'm sure you're wondering, what is AI? No, it's not artificial intelligence. It is Asue Ighodalo, the current gubernatorial candidate for PDP Edo State elections. This series has been specially curated to give us an insight into the man, Asue Ighodalo. Not from the perspective of what you see in the papers or what you see on social media, but from people who have known him for many, many years and have worked with him in various capacities. So join us on the movement as we look into who he really is. In talking about the state of the nation and where we are today, yes, and everybody talks about the youth. What values or what character traits from him do you think would be useful in building the next generation of leaders?
Look, very, very simply put, everything I think revolves around one thing,
lots of different strands around it, hard work, putting in the required amount of hours. Look, people tend to think that there are lucky people around, and some guys may just be pure luck. A bunch of us make our luck by working hard. I think Asue is very reflective of that. He puts in the hours. He does what is necessary. He expects. Actually, he's a sore loser.
Tell me more about that.
No, from the perspective that he works so hard to achieve an objective that where he doesn't get what he's worked so hard for, you can actually see that he's unhappy, which, by the way, is a human thing. So I'm not, I don't, I think it's important that he's not going to play mind games to achieve the objective. He's not going to do anything that's underhand to achieve the objective, but he's going to make sure that within his control, everything that has to be done to achieve the objective is done. So you can then understand that if you've put in 100% and for whatever reason it doesn't happen, it's purely human. But Asue is also this kind of person that wears it on his sleeve, so you can see very quickly that this thing didn't happen the way we expected it to happen. But let's move on to the next one. But yeah. Politics, in the sense of participation, is not alien to him. So as to whether he's been asking the questions, as to whether we've been empowering people around us to run for office, that's what we've been doing for some time. Now, as to how many of us step up to the plate, few and far between. I would go one step further to say we may not be, my generation, may not be particularly proud of all the people in my generation that have tried to run and as the results. But I think doesn't stop somebody like Asue asking the question. And I know he went through a tortuous road to make the decision. People would say, why do you need it? You've achieved already. Why do you want to jump in the muck with everybody else? The reality is that if we don't participate, then we shouldn't complain. But as I say, participation is all kinds of different ways.
Yes.
However, jumping into the ring and running for office, I believe that at this time of the nation's history, but also based on the kind of experience that we've all picked up over the years, it means there's a lot to give back. And so my view, while it was a difficult decision, while many people will question it, I think the proof of the pudding is that even in the running for office, we've seen the clean campaign that's been run, the professional way it's been done, the engagement around principles and objectives as totally distinct from character assassination. That in itself, if that's all that we're doing to change the narrative, that in itself is success. It's progress. It's not enough, but at least that shows that there's the same intensity that we bring to bear on running a law firm, on building organizations, or engaging with people. Maybe we can bring that engagement in the first instance to running for office. And then, with best hope in the world, actually to governance. And I think if we're able to do that, if he's able to do that, actually then we've succeeded.
If you were to describe him in 5 words, what words would you use? And why?
I will say fearless. I'll say fearless. Fearless not in an arrogant way, but fearless just saying that I'm meant to do something and I will do everything I can to be able to do it. That's number one. Number two is a man of integrity. And I don't say this about a lot of people, But Asue's word is his bond. If he gives you his commitment, you can bet that you will get that commitment. Number three is, for me, he's curious. So even in different contexts, why is something working? Why is it not working? And if it's not working, what can we do? What do we need to understand about the situation and the context? Number four for me will be as a community person. You know that call to serve. Arise, O compatriots, Nigerians call away to serve with heart and mind, with love and strength. And that for me is that, right? That people who are ready to serve, people who are prepared. When you say ready time, they give their time, knowledge, experience, competencies, and the like. And when it's time to do something, they do it. And they do it, they reflect it, and they bring their everything to do that and more.
That would be your description of who he is.
Yes.
That is very apt.
Thank you.
And it's very powerful.
If we have 20 of Asue in the whole Nigeria, let's say from each geopolitical area of Nigeria, I'm sure we'll have a great nation. We'll have a great, because to me, Asue is the man. Even if I have to come again to this world, choose your boss or choose your leader, I'll choose Asue. If you want to develop your life, even in our Nigeria of today, we need somebody like Asue to lead us. Because look at track records. Where, from Crisco, where I know him, to B&I, up to when he was, because he started from somewhere before he now become a chairman everywhere now and then. He has made the name. Like there's a book, there's Ighodalo, Ighodalo wrote, Call to Duty. Anytime we are called to duty, with what we learn from Asue, is for you to do it. 100% loyalty is not loyalty. You have to add one on top.
Wow.
That is what he taught us.
Wow.
And being a primary learner from him, I would say, yes, it works. If you have tried something and it works for you, I think it's better for you to spread the news. For now, I would like to employ everybody. Now that it's running, all this is not because it's running. No. It is what has happened to me. So I can spread the news to people. That if you work hard according to his philosophy, you don't need to introduce yourself. If you do things right, you'll get it right. If other people choose right now, I believe we will not be where we are today in another 4 years. No, because Asue progress is not stagnant. It's always moving. The old Edo State or the electorate should just look up and vote AI. It's going to do it. It's going to get it done. Is a workaholic, a listening leader, a listening to you. Even if you report somebody to Asue now, okay, I don't hear. He will do his own investigation. He will know you. Somebody called you a bad name in front of him doesn't make him look at you as a bad person. No. You will come, you will prove yourself that you are a bad person. They will now
He'll
tell
give you
that,
the benefit
he
of
will
the
give you
doubt.
the benefit of doubt to prove yourself that true, I'm a bad person. So you can see part of the leadership quality.
The leadership qualities are endless.
Asue is reliable. He's dependable. He's intense. Can be stubborn. If he believes in something, it's very difficult to get him to back down. And he's such a workaholic. I wish he would just slow down. But this is not the time, but you can't tell him. Once he has his eyes fixed on something, he goes for it. So he's committed and dedicated to his work.
Wow. He's reliable. He's intense.
He's intense.
He's hardworking. He's dependable.
Yes.
He's committed.
Yes.
Wow. I've heard that word intense from a few other people that know him. What does that really mean?
You can't get Asue to come down from any road, anything he decides, he sets his mind to do. And if you try to tell him that, Asue, why are you going this route? Because I asked him when this thing started. I said, Asue, so why are you going for God of, why Edo State? Because I'm a bit worried about politics. And I didn't think, I knew that this time last year, he wasn't going to go for governorship. And I asked him, why are you going on this journey that we know is so difficult in this terrain? And he said, I didn't want to do it. But that somebody, an elderly man, asked him one day. He said, what? By then, they had been asking him to come and do it. And he said, what are you going to give back to your town? And since then, no matter what you all told him, Asue was focused. So we said, okay, if that's what you want to do, we support you. We never way they want to support you. But to get him to back down, he's not going to do it. So that's how intense he is. Likewise, when he was he's still running his law firm.
Yes.
Ask the people in his office. Dedicated, committed. And once his eyes are on it, forget it.
Wow. What are the things that stand him out from the pack? I don't know if there's such a thing as being able to stand out from the pack, in all honesty. But what are the things that you would say stand him out from the pack?
Especially in this day and age, I'll say his integrity. As he's a man of, there are quite a number of people that have integrity. But Asue is a man of integrity. He will do what he says he will do. If he's not going to do it, you just won't see him. But if he decides to do it, if he promises, he makes a promise, he carries it out. And then for some reason, he's just a leader by nature. If it's in a group and you want to, can somebody do this? For some reason, you turn to him and say, Asue, can you do this for us? And I tell people that God kept him alive for this.
Loyal, deeply emotional. So that's 3 words now.
Okay.
Loyal.
That's loyal twice.
And loyal again.
That's loyal 3 times.
That's a loyal.
So he's fiercely loyal.
Fiercely loyal.
Okay.
I think Edo State will be lucky to have Asue as the next governor.
Why?
Look at all he's done in his personal and professional life. Take that and put it in the space of Edo State transformation. What he has to, one of the slogans is Man We Sabi.
Okay.
He knows what he's doing. He's done, as if we had looked more critically at our politicians to see what had they done or what had they achieved before they entered into public office. I believe if we had more people that you could point at their achievements, you could point at their abilities, identify them, as you can with Asue, I think then we would really have a better governance space in Nigeria today.
I'm 100% sure that if he becomes the governor of Edo, life will be easier for everybody.
Why do you think that?
Because his character is loving everybody. Yes, he doesn't discriminate. He sits sweet, low class.
Relatable. If there's any word I can, he's so relatable. I don't want to use the word humble. But he can connect up, down, left, right. And a big part of it is because I think he has empathy and he just knows how to connect. So relatability. I think people use I'm going to use 2 words in replacement of one that people use a lot. People use the word integrity a lot, but I say true north. Like Mr. Ighodalo has a true north that you can't bend. And that's why I say when he comes into a matter, you you can't corrupt him, you can't whatever. And if you link that with the relatability, that's why when he enters a situation, he listens, he takes his true north, and he delivers it in a way that everybody can just accept. I think the final one I was just saying is a workhorse. I mean, I think that's related to how does he get the hours? How does he do it? And he's a fun guy too. He's not an effico. And that's why he's relatable. He will work hard. He will play with you. He will joke with you. He will ask about your family. He's an all-arounder.
From private sector, yes. He was on your board for quite a few years. Yeah. In most boards, you're on the board for like 10 years before you change. In public sector, you're in office for 4 years. If you get re-elected, you're in office for another 4 years. So what's the impact quotient?
Look, the truth of the matter is, so I'm gonna respond to that the best I can. There's nothing better than for someone like Mr. Ighodalo to be there for 8 years and more. And when I say more, it's not about you're a governor, right? It's about state, because we need more success stories from the private sector to go get stuck in the public sector. As a country, we need that. So number one. Number two is this. So let's stay with even the 8 years. Even to get to 8 years, we need to work within what we have. You have a first 4 years. The truth of the matter is that 4 years is not really 4 years of work. Let's be honest, because what happens is there are going to be some aggrieved people. It's just what it is for the first. So there's the first, 12, 18 months and thereafter. But you know what? So my answer to your question is, the longer we have someone like this go help us get public sector right, working well, the better. But you know what? I'll take 4 years first. I'll take the foundation, because he's a long-term thinker. He's a foundational guy. He's a what's the job that needs to be done guy. And I believe, let's get him there for the first 4 years, because if we say we want people to feel what we're feeling, in those 4 years, they will feel it. So it gives you that thing that someone is at your corner, he remembers you, he sees you, and stuff like that. Yes, that's who he is.
Wow, that says a lot to his character, and his leadership style.
Yes.
Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, he's a leader now. You can't sit in the room with him, even if you are the chairman. He's a leader. He leads. He leads with compassion. He leads with, and not for anything. It's just who he is.
If you were going to summarize the essence of who he is in 5 words, what would you say?
He's troublesome. And troublesome not in a negative way. He will push you, just keep on happing at it. Yes, he's dogged. He'll just keep on happing at it and saying, no, we can do better. And because he wants to see you do better. He's compassionate. I don't know. And compassion does not mean, people look at it in different ways and see it in different ways. For me, he's compassionate to me as a person. And not because he is, people, Nigerians, when we see compassion, I think of money, resources. That's not the essence of compassion to me. It's when things are, it's when a person sees beyond what everybody else is seeing, and can go back at the back end and say, something is wrong. What do I do? Or not even ask you and just do.
If you were to describe him in 5 words, outside of the things you've already said, what words would you use to describe him?
Friend, generous, kind, obstinate, very stubborn. He's all of those things at the same time. I think one of the great attributes Asue has is that he's not afraid to talk to anybody. When you are in his profession and you only eat what you kill, you need to go and look for clients, you need to go and look for people to give you business. And that talent means that you are able to approach anybody and talk to anybody. But you'll still find that many people who are in the same position as him are only willing or able to talk to certain people. Aswe has no barriers. You can talk to, as I said, anybody. If you ask about Aswe at the gate of Ikoyi Club, or you talk to the caddies, or you go to anywhere he has gone. If you come to the gate of my house, my security guys know him. He's just that kind of person. He has no filters in terms of I can relate with this type. I don't talk to these people, and it's a great attribute. It really is. It's a great attribute.
It is. It is because, like you said, sometimes people are scared to speak to certain people, and he doesn't have that.
Not only it's not even sometimes. He's not even scared. They don't even want to. They're not. They just can't be bothered to speak to certain people because I don't need them. I will never need them. I don't even see them. That's why he sees them and he talks to them. He knows them. Asks after their families. Knows the names of their children. It's an incredible talent.
Edo State will be lucky to have him. If he gets there, they would beg him to do a second term. But the negative people will hate him with passion. He doesn't suffer fools. He will do things correctly. He would expand the economy of... He's a lawyer and an economist. He would expand the economy of Edo State. He would bring in resources internationally to Edo State. As he's there now, I can bet you Asue is thinking, how do we start? He's not thinking right now about getting there. He believes he will get there. I'm saying from day one, you're talking 100 days, 100 days of governance, 50 days of governance. Believe me, ask Asue on a weekly basis. Asue will tell you what he plans to do the first week he gets there. That's who he is. His plans are on already. That's who he is. So it sounds like I'm exaggerating. I feel it myself, but I want everybody listening to me to believe me. Google who I am. I am similar like that. But please believe me, and for the sake of Nigeria, for the sake of Edo State, let Asue get there. AI is your savior for the next few years. And then if Asue is that successful as a governor, other good people will now get up. If Asue can do it, then I can do it. I will go to a different states and hopefully Nigeria will be better.
Competence, sincerity, integrity, vision, insightfulness. I can think of many. Integrity is what you do when you think no one is looking, or when you don't know that anyone is looking. So with Aswe, what he would do behind you, or what he would do in private, is also what he would do in public. Okay. He doesn't have self-contradictions of speech and thought. With Aswe, you know where he stands on most things, because he's also very articulate and it's not short for words like me. He will generally tell you very quickly where he stands on an issue or where he wants to go on an issue. So you know what you're getting with him. Which I can't say for a lot of people. There are other people like that, but I think that he does stand out for that.
Thank you so much for your time. This has been actually quite insightful. There's some things that I've discovered in this conversation, so it's been quite refreshing.
Maybe it's like peeling an onion.
It is like peeling an onion.
Aswe is both simple and can also be quite complicated because he thinks a lot before he manifests, as it were. A lot of thinking has gone into things. So what you see is usually the product of a lot of
things,
thought you know. And that's not to say he doesn't think on his feet, but many things have also been pre-thought before the situation may happen.
Wow. As a leader, how would you describe him? What's his unique selling points, as it were?
Again, there's a lot of things, but I think it goes back to one of the points I was making earlier. There's different kinds of leaders. Some people will strategize and then send out their people to execute. AI leads from the front. So like we determine what we are going to do. You can't just you can't just say the word and expect the people to execute on it. You have to live it yourself. Ibiana, he always just emphasize how passion is the most important thing, and people need to be passionate about their work. Take pride in their work, and he said it a lot. But for him, it was always, it's not just enough to say it, right? I have to lead by my example, and that's the example that he showed every day. He shows every day at work. Same thing I was saying earlier about rolling up his sleeves and getting in the work. He's trying to drive his people to be towards perfection. You need to pay attention to all of the details in the work that you are doing, because clients value that work. And basically, the way that he leads is that he actually himself is paying attention to all of those details. He's actually there doing the stuff as well. I think that's the point about him as a leader, that he's involved, right? He's not just dictating and sending people out. He's actually doing the stuff as well. So he's leading by example.
And tell me about your brother Asue. Yes? In maybe 3 words. What 3 words would you use?
Intentional, determined, visionary, strategic. Edo State would lose if they don't get Asue. Because as he was intentional, strategic, and focused about his life, he is intentional, focused, and strategic about Edo State. When we were young, Edo State was the place to be. Benin was beautiful. My father worked there. We went on our holidays. It was peaceful, GRA. I rode my bike up and down. We had so many friends, the Adiolas, all sorts of people. It was nice. It was, after Lagos, it was Benin. Even before Ibadan. Ibadan was academic, the Ivory Tower. But Benin was, upbeat, interesting. Benin was very classy, from what I can recall. Maybe we were, privileged. I don't know. But even in the market in Benin, it was bubbly. So now, and music came from Edo State. In those days, Edo State produced great musicians. And where other states could produce 1 or 2, Edo State had a sulfate of musicians, talented people. Then art, creativity, the metalworks, the woodwork, the carvings. Edo State was rich. To see that state go down to become the capital of the world, it's heartbreaking. So many years ago, we said, look, you guys can come together. We can rescue our state. It takes one person to decide that this cannot continue. We need to turn it around, turn back the hands of the clock, and what would you say in IT? Reboot. And that is what he wants to do. The plan is there, the strategy is there, the vision is there, the ability to work hard is there, the ability to drive people is there, and the ability, some people, and I would say it's a gift. I'm a Christian, so I would say it's a gift. It's not inborn. Some people can be well brought up, have all the benefits, but there are some things that come together in an upbringing, in a background, in genes, that makes a few people, generation to generation, stand out. And I'm not talking about Asue now. I'm talking societally, generally. That's where you will find the Einsteins. That's where you will find the Lee Kuan Yews. That's where you will find the Indira Gandhis. That's where you find, I forget, there's a Pakistani, she's late now, architect that did architectural works across the world, buildings. God gifts society with certain people at certain times.
And you believe that Asue is one of those people?
I do.